Excellennial here with another story-based Excel tutorial, and today we're going to be talking about Katie the knitter. Now Katie has a lot of orders from her Etsy shop that she needs to fulfill. Now to be sure that she is keeping to the promised order fulfillment date, she wants to track when the orders were made. Then she needs to find out how many business days she has left to complete the orders. This may be hard though since Katie doesn't work on the weekends, so she doesn't want those days to be counted. Let's see if we can help. Okay, so here is the list of the customer name, the order date, a column for the days between the order date and the scheduled completion, the actual scheduled completion date based on the promised completion dates, the days left that she has column, and today's date. So what we're going to do here is actually use a function to fill in the column C and column E. So she's going to know how many workdays that she originally had between the order date and the promised scheduled completion date. Then, since some of those days have already passed, she's actually going to do this one more time in column E to find out how many days she has between today's date and the day that she promised to have it completed by. So we're going to have two columns that will actually use the same formula in. Again, we want to be careful because she doesn't work on the weekends. So we're going to use the equal net workdays. This does not include weekends. Now the start date is going to be the date that it was ordered. Whenever that was ordered, that's the start date, and the end date will be the scheduled completion date. That's how many workdays we want to know are in between there. So we'll add a comma and now select the end date as cell D2, and the holidays, you can see they have additional brackets. That means that's an optional item, so we don't have to worry about typing anything in for that. So I'll press enter. We can see there's 21 days between the order date and the scheduled completion date. So that's how many days Katie originally had to complete this order. We can save a lot of time here by hitting the little square here. We could double click that. And now when you click into the cell here, we can see that the net workdays, it actually updated to row 3. So it now says B3 and D3. When you click that little square and double press the drop down, it actually updates, you can see up here in the formula bar, it updates everything to the actual row. It keeps the column information because that's all going to stay the same, but it updates the row according to whatever row has the data in there. So that's what makes all of this information update according to the function. So now we have the exact work days between the order date and the scheduled completion when Katie said she was going to have these orders fulfilled. So the problem is a couple of days have passed and she needs to figure out how many days she actually has left to put these orders together. So we're going to do the same thing, equal net work days. Now we're going to be using this one again because, again, she doesn't want to count the weekends. She only wants to be working on these things between the actual work order date and the scheduled completion date, excluding weekends, and it's fine if there's holidays. That's the goal for Katie getting this information. Now the start date this time is actually going to be this F2, whatever today's date is, and we have an entire column set that way so that the function can update correctly because it's going to, again, update according to the rows. So today's date needs to be one date per row. Now you can see here we actually can't click on that date, so we can either type it, and this is because we're working on the function right next to it. So we have two options. We can either select G2 and then move our keys over, or we could actually type in F2. Both of those are an option. Now we'll type in the comma to end the start date. We're done adding that. And the end date is still going to be the scheduled completion date. Then again, we're not going to have any holidays added here, so we don't need any additional data. We already have the start date according to column F and the end date according to column D. I'll press enter. And now when I double click this little square here, again, because I have all of today's date updated, these all have updated according to the row, and that's why we needed this whole entire today's date column. So now you can see some of these weren't actually due yet, so some of them match here, but some of them were due a while back, and she actually doesn't have as much time as she had before to complete these orders. So now she can prioritize them according to how many days she has left. We'll just go to data real quick, turn on the filters. So now that we turn on the filters, she can actually sort this from A to Z, which will bring the ones that have the least days left for her to complete down to the highest number. So you can see here down here, she actually has 39 days to still complete this one. She has quite a few days on a lot of these. So that means that she can focus her time on where she only has 5 days left to complete an order or 10 days to complete an order. So now she has this organized where she can focus on the most important items, and she still was able to use a function that removed the weekends. So really she has more time if she really has to work on the weekends, but she knows that she has 5 business days to work on these projects and still get them out in time. Katie's really happy to see that this is a pretty easy process. She could easily do it again for next month's orders or anything else that continues to come into her list that she needs to keep track of. So not only is this a good solution right now so she can take care of a lot of back orders, but it's also a good system for the future if she needs to make sure she's prioritizing the right items. Some items take longer to make, and that's where she can get a little mixed up. But now she has a system so she can work through it each time. If you have any questions about this process, please leave a comment in the section below. And until next time, have fun excelling.